Welcome to season 2 of No Shelf Control, the podcast with books, booze, and banter, hosted by authors for readers, because let's face it, we're all bookworms at heart.
This season, we'll be chatting about book-to-screen adaptations, trending BookTok books. I'm Lindsey Sparks.
And I'm Lindsey Pogue. Grab a cocktail, kick back, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to the 6th episode of season 2 of the No Shelf Control podcast. This episode features a popular BookTok book, which is A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. And I was really excited to read this book. I really loved it, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, tell me what you're drinking.
Well, surprise, everybody.
Grapefruit.
No, actually, I'm drinking a mocktail tonight.
A mocktail.
Yeah, I just wasn't feeling anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. So anyways, I just have, well, it's really watered down now, but it's just cranberry and club soda. It's nothing fun.
But you do have a crazy straw.
So at least you guys will get the effect as I'm sipping on it that, you know,
the jingling ice.
It sounds very cocktaily.
It does sound cocktaily.
If you watch me though, you're gonna have to watch me like sucker face trying to suck up to this little straw.
Is it really narrow? I feel like those are always really narrow.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to get some of those for my kid because I think he'll be really excited about them.
Oh yeah, they're fun. I mean, I love them, obviously.
Drinking wine. No shocker.
And it was really warm yesterday, so I had some white wine. Which I don't drink a lot, so it was like, I don't know.
I must never drink anything except for red wine now.
I know. I'm the same way. Dennis was like, "You want to open a bottle of white wine?" I was like, "Yeah, it sounds crisp and refreshing." Anyway.
Oh, fun. So, I mean, I know part of this, but what are you working on right now?
Lots of things. Mostly I am working on The Raven Queen with you, and I have
We're almost at, actually we might have already passed it.
What, midway point?
I wrote the midway point, but I wrote a little ahead. We're almost at 50,000 words.
Yeah,
we're like 500 words short of it.
Yeah, I mean, we're easily going to be 100,000 words for this.
That's good.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that kind of comes with the territory of writing two POVs, right? So
yeah,
I think it makes sense. I kind of, with my own books, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I don't think it's very often that it's less than that. So anyway, but that's exciting. And I have to say that the only other time that I have written only a male POV is when we did World After, and I really enjoy it. Like, I really enjoy it.
That's funny.
I don't know why, but I just do. So it's a fun fact, I guess. But yeah, so it's a nice change. And then the other thing that I'm working on is Sea of Storms, and the revisions from betas, as you know, like it's not a lot, but because
there's nothing like wrong with the book.
No, but now I'm going in and I'm adding in chapters for Killian that weren't there, so I've had to like kind of go back and figure out like what is his voice and what chapters, and you know, do I want to put in that make sense and that sort of thing. So anyway, yeah, but all of it's fun, all of it's good. It's just a lot, and I've kind of had to push Land of Fury to the back burner for a little while, but I think I'm gonna be able to start on that next week again. So yeah, I have I don't know why I do this to myself. I have a couple things in the works. But anyways, how about you?
I am also working on The Raven Queen, obviously, and loving it. And I am, what else am I working on? I do have a couple of fun things. So we're 2/3 of the way through a month. So I am working on my Patreon stories. So I have to write an episode of The Last Vampire Queen, which is my spicy vampires and shifters and witches serial that's exclusive to my Patreon. And so I need to write that. I've written most of the stuff that goes out next month anyway already, because a lot of it's bonus stuff for Blood of the Broken, which releases on the 16th. So I wrote that when I was revising it, just because I didn't want to go back to it when my head wasn't in it.
Mm-hmm, that makes sense.
Yeah. But I have added, since since the July releases on July 1st, I've added another serial, which is the Nick Chronicles, which is the Cat Dubois Chronicles, my urban fantasy, but told from the male point of view, not like retold, but just like the things that are interesting and unique from his perspective that we don't necessarily know about. So I'm showing those scenes. And that's been really fun because Nick is like my favorite character. So I feel like I can kind of relate to you in terms of you're loving writing Finn's character because you're only writing a male POV for this. I am super like for these Patreon stories that I've been doing, my readers have been requesting a lot of male point of view things. So I've been writing a lot of male point of view things, and I don't ever write male point of view. So it's been really interesting. It's just been interesting, but it's also been really fun because I feel like I can be like a lot, this is weird, but like a lot more myself. So apparently I like my inner thoughts, I'm like sticking into them because it's like more appropriate. I don't know.
No, I get it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess Cat wasn't exactly like the epitome of femininity. So, but Nick is like 5,000 years old and super like just jaded by the world. So that's really fun to write. And then I also, I have started doing digital art
Nice.
of my characters. Yeah. So I've only shared it on my Patreon. Like I'm so nervous about it that I'm getting really hot and sweaty just like talking about it.
So like you're drawing things or what are you doing?
Yeah. I am drawing right now. I'm working on a drawing with Kat and Nick from Ricochet Through Time before Kat's series started. And this is still my first drawing. So I'm just like learning how to do it. I got an iPad, my first Apple product in like 2 decades. So I got my iPad. I got an Apple Pencil. I'm not becoming an Apple person. I feel like I have to say that because I've been like not an Apple person for so long. Nothing against Apple people, but I'm just not, it's not my thing. However, I really wanted Procreate, which is the program that tons of the like character artists who do fan art on Instagram use, and it's only available to Apple products. So
what made you decide to start doing that?
well,
That
I've been
seems really
commissioning so
random to
much
me.
art. I know it seems really random until you think about the fact that I was super into art when I was a teenager, like
Oh, okay.
super into drawing. I was in art all through high school. I did AP art, but I just like stopped.
Oh, I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
Go figure. One of the few things.
I think like I feel like I got some negative feedback and I just have a really thin skin. And so then as soon as somebody tells me something negative, then all of a sudden I'm like, well, I suck. I got to stop. Can't do this anymore. So it's a miracle that I managed to stick with writing. But I think having a co-author when I started out is what really helped me there. But yeah, so I'm really excited about it. I've been playing with, I'm not going to show anybody anything. But I've been playing with painting and like coloring the illustration that I've created. I'll show you when we're off the air.
Yay, I get a backseat look or behind the scenes look.
Yeah, I feel like I chose a really complicated scene to start with. I should have just started with like a portrait or something. Like this has like really dark shading and it's gonna have a really complicated background. It's got 2 people full body in like sitting and kneeling positions. So there's like lots of angles and body parts and stuff.
Oh yeah, that does sound complicated. You'll figure it out though. You can take as much time as you want, right?
I know. So yeah, my goal is, well, I don't really have a goal other than it's really fun. I was thinking about it for a long time and I'm really loving it. I just want to be able to get what I see in my head out for other people to see it is what I want. And I've commissioned enough art at this point to know that all of the art that I've commissioned, I love and I think is beautiful, especially the covers, the illustrations for the covers of the 10th anniversary editions of the Echo trilogy. They're stunning. And those are the closest to how I see the characters of any of the art that I've done by Sonia Matas. but it's still, and it's because I think she really drew on the art reader. She was really like
thoughtful about it.
Yeah, like I guess I sent her those and she kind of stuck to for their facial features and stuff that she didn't just like stick it on there, but she used that as the inspiration, especially for Haru/Marcus. But I just feel like I can't get it out of my head, and I want to be able to show people. And even the art reader portraits, like, we've talked about this, they always come out like beautiful, like they are beautiful people, but like our characters are real people. I mean, some of my characters are gods, so they're beautiful. But and just generally, like, a lot of times they're good looking, but they're not like these perfect, like,
yeah, no, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Me.
So yeah, I'm excited about that. And
fun.
Yeah,
it's nice to have a different creative outlet too. So
yes, I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, I had to get my 3-year-old a little tablet pencil for his tablet because he wanted to be just like me. His was not nearly as expensive. But yeah, I'm really excited. Maybe next time I'll feel confident enough to share something with the audience.
That's fun though.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That was me talking for a long time. What are you reading right now?
So I actually am listening to 2 different audiobooks. One of them is called Priest by Simone. It's a love story. I haven't gone to Steamy Bits, but I have heard this is pretty steamy. So
I feel like I've seen that on BookTok.
Yeah.
Who is it by?
It's by Simone. It's literally about a priest who should not be fornicating,
but does, I'm assuming.
And then the other one is it's like historical fantasy romance, and it's called Hollen the Soulless, and it is by Denali Day. It's my first book by her. It's very cool in that it's my kind of brand of historical fiction fantasy. It's really long, so I mean, I've been listening to it. I'm almost halfway through and I still have 11 hours left. So it's gonna take me a while to get through that one.
Yeah.
But it's my first book by her, and it's they're like dragon riders or something. And I wanted to try it because I've never read anything like that before. I don't do the dragon thing.
That's fun.
So yeah, I'm checking it out.
But it's like on Earth.
I mean, yeah, it's like a different reality,
Okay.
I think it's on, I mean, they haven't actually said that, but I think so. It kind of feels like Game of Thronesy, But anyway, the reason why I was drawn to it is because Podium did it, which is who, I've been working with. So I wanted to kind of see what some of their historical fantasy stuff was, but also because the narrator is Shane East, who is this really amazing British narrator who yeah, he's on my wish list for in the future. So I wanted to listen to something other than like a steamy contemporary romance that he did, and he does the voices really cool, so it's fun. Yeah. What about you?
I've been catching up on some podcasts actually, so but I am still listening to A Kingdom of Ruin by KF Brain. Like, how many episodes can I say that for in a row? But I had to pause for like 2 different books that we were reading, and
yeah,
just stuff gets in the way. So I feel like I can't listen to an audiobook when I'm drawing for some reason. It's I don't know, the way my brain works. It's the same thing with writing. I can't listen to music when I'm writing. But so that a lot of times I would listen to audiobooks when I was hanging out with the kids, but now if I'm drawing when I'm hanging out with the kids, then I'm not listening to an audiobook.
Yeah. Well, I will say that I've talked about this. That's probably been a couple episodes, but I am still reading the hardcover for the Hacienda, which is it's a historical fiction Gothic, Mexican Gothic book, and I am not that far along because it's hardcover and I only read it at night when I'm gonna lay in bed, but it's also kind of creepy. So I like read it and then I'm like, that's enough for tonight. I'm gonna like play a word game or something that like when there's not like creepy like red eyes staring at me in my mind because they were creepy red eyes staring at her and you know what I mean or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm a little slow going on that one, but I'll keep everybody posted. That's another one where I stopped just mentioning it because I'm just very slowly moving along.
No, I get it. Okay, so should we slide into the discussion? Slide
into our DMs. What is that?
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
And I don't ever say it. Okay, so I'm going to read the description. I just grabbed this off of Amazon.
Okay, and also
spoilers.
BT dubs, yeah.
Spoiler. From best-selling author Scarlett St. Clair comes a dark and enthralling reimagining of the Hades and Persephone Greek myth. Persephone is the goddess of spring in title only. Since she was a little girl, flowers have only shriveled at her touch. After moving to New Athens, she hoped to lead an unassuming life disguised as a mortal journalist. All of that changes when she sits down in a forbidden nightclub to play a hand of cards with a hypnotic and mysterious stranger. Hades, god of the dead, has built a gambling empire in the mortal world, and his favorite bets are rumored to be impossible. But nothing has ever intrigued him as much as the goddess offering him a bargain he can't resist. After her encounter with Hades, Persephone finds herself in a contract with the god of the dead, and his terms are impossible. Persephone must create life in the underworld or lose her freedom forever. The bet does more than expose Persephone's failure as a goddess, however. As she struggles to sow the seeds of her freedom, love for the god of the dead grows, a love that is both captivating and forbidden. Dun, dun, dun. What format did you read this book in?
Audio.
I also read the audio narrated by Meg Sylvan.
I think she did really good.
I think she did really good too. She was my second choice for Song of Scarabs and Fallen Stars.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
this is the first one I've heard by her. I really like her.
Yes, I do have one caveat, which is this book is in third person, which everybody knows I'm not a huge fan of. And Meg is a very expressive narrator. And especially in the romance scenes, she's very expressive.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. She was.
Yeah, super expressive. And when like I'm all for an expressive romance scene narration, but I think because I love first person so much, it throws me off when it's in third person, but it's expressive. So like, it's like the voice is feeling it, but the voice isn't saying the voice is talking about someone else. And so then it throws me off because I'm like, oh, this is not connecting.
That's really interesting because, you know, at the end, like, they're like, they want you to rate everything. And for her, like, it was hands down 5 stars. And then I was looking at the overall story and I was like, do I do 4 star? Like, I don't know, like her, it was an automatic, like, I think she did an amazing job.
I agree. I think the narration was excellent.
No, she's great.
Yeah.
I'll have to keep an eye open for more of her stuff.
Yeah.
But going back to the third person thing, just because I agree, like it's hard for me too.
Yeah. So and that's like one of my questions, or one of the topics that I wanted to talk about just in general, because I don't know that we really ever have like dived into this. But so this book was written in third person, which actually totally surprised me. I really thought it was going to be first person. I just assumed it was going to be first person. And we both write in first person. So, and you just said that you prefer first person. Does it take you out of the story when it's in third person?
It's hard. I think it depends. One, how well the story is written, because I think you can do just really topical third person and then there is zero connection at all. I think that if you're a good writer, I think there's a way to do it so that it feels a little bit more personal. So I think it could be hit and miss. I definitely feel like I connect more when it's first person. But I think, you know, there's also something to be said for having somebody narrate it to you and then trying to read it yourself. I feel like that also makes a difference. So like Meg was really good. And so I was very much enjoying her voice. So it was kind of flawless for me to follow the story, if that makes sense. Whereas there's been other third person narration or stories when it was kind of hard to connect. That's not to say, I feel like there's plenty of books that I've loved that are third person. I just definitely, you know, like you're saying, I do have a preference, but I think like it just depends how the story is told, I think, because it could be hit and miss, I think.
I am extremely preferential to first person.
I know you are.
And that's not to say that there's not third person books that I have enjoyed. But like with this, as soon as it started and it was third person, I even like came out and I grabbed the paperback because I have the paperback of it. It's a really pretty cover. And I like skimmed through it and I was like, God damn it.
I feel like I kind of have those moments. I'm like, oh, it's third person, and my shoulders droop just a little bit. And then, like I said, though, when she starts narrating, and then I kind of forget about it. So I mean, that's a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, I think like because I knew it was just one perspective, because I know she's also written the Hades perspective as a separate book, which is called A Game of Fate, I believe. So I just figured it was going to be first person because it was only one perspective. Because I feel like a lot of times there's like two sections or not sections, but like two types of paranormal romance books. There's like the first person single point of view, usually from the female point of view books. And then and I would say it's mostly the same for urban fantasy too, because the two genres are super closely related. But just in paranormal romance. So there's those books and those series where usually it's like one couple per book, kind of like the traditional. Wait, no, I just flipped that.
I know.
Yeah, because then there's the other ones where it's like one couple per book and there's both points of view. And usually those ones are third person, but I don't usually read those ones.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a very jumbled way to say that it was unexpected. So I was bummed about that. But I will say like Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas, that series is also written in third person. And that also threw me off because it's urban fantasy. Urban fantasy, I'm going to plant my flag here. Urban fantasy should be written in first person. Sorry. And that's my number one genre. And I think it's part of the reason that I love that genre so much is because it is almost always in first person.
So I have a question about that, because I feel like, you know, because I read a lot of romance and there's a lot of romance that is in first person and I love it. And then I get to like, I love Tessa Bailey, but the books I've read by her, love her books, but they're also third person, but she does a really good job of making them quirky characters and like pulling you into the story. I feel like, and I could be wrong, but most of the fantasy books that because, you know, I don't read a lot of fantasy books. I'm just kind of, you know, starting out. So, but I feel like most of them that I have read or listened to have been third person. So I guess.
I want to say that epic fantasy, especially the male dominated traditional epic fantasy dominated by male authors and male main characters. I'm talking about Robert Jordan, Terry Goodkind. Even David Eddings, who was like my favorite all-time author as a teenager. Those are all third person, but they're close third person. And I read that, like I said, I read all of those when I was quite a bit younger. And I think I hadn't found my extreme preference for first person at that point.
Like I said, my extreme preference.
It's extreme. Like there's nothing that will make me DNF a book as fast as third person or a narrator that I don't like.
Right. And yes,
because every once in a while.
Yeah.
Been there. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, you know how you feel about this then.
I know, it's terrible.
It's fine. Everyone has their preference, you know.
I know. Yeah. So, okay. This is a Persephone and Hades retelling. And, obviously, as I read in the description, and that's like a very hot thing right now, but just, let's talk about this specific one. So this specific retelling and spin on Hades and Persephone, which it's like a modern spin. So they have like modern cities. It's kind of a hidden I don't know, kind of an alternate parallel Earth, modern times. There's technology and cell phones and journalists and stuff.
I think one of the biggest things too that I haven't seen in a lot of fantasy in general when it comes to the human, like, or being on Earth, is the humans don't know about the supernatural creatures usually. And then
but these ones they did.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. That seemed like an interesting twist. But again, I haven't read a lot, but I was surprised by that.
Yeah, that was
take
fun.
a lot of liberties when you do it that way, I guess. So I mean, it makes sense.
It was fun. I think I prefer, this is another one of my preferences because we're digging into my like genre preferences right now, apparently. I really love the hidden worlds element. So most of my favorite books, like a discovery of witches, it's a hidden world. Like the humans don't know about it.
Yeah.
I love that. So that was another thing I was kind of like, oh man.
Well, yeah, it makes it mysterious, right?
Yeah.
Which is the fun part. Yeah, I totally agree.
And I like to like have the character who's discovering stuff and, you know, but anyway, so this was fun. It was like modern world, but with magic and fantasy and mythology that was very much real and a part of it. As I think so many of us who love mythology love to think about what if like the myths and the gods and everything were really real. Obviously I wrote a series about Egyptian mythology that was essentially that thing. So how did you feel about the artistic liberties that were taken in this spin on the myth?
I think there was some fun, like the horns surprised me.
The horns is one of the things I wrote down for later of what are the favorite things about the book. I also added a thing I didn't like. I didn't like the horns. I don't like horns. I don't know.
It was very interesting.
I also don't like pointy ears on elves and fairies. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was, when I heard her, you know, talking about it, I was sitting there and I had to like kind of take a step back and like, wait, there's horns involved in this.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, like we said, the intermingling worlds, which I haven't read before. Yeah, those are I read this 2 weeks ago, so I'm really reaching, but those are the things that really popped out when I was trying to remember back. So
I think the thing that throws me off sometimes about retellings, myth retellings, when they're in modern times, so there's another one that I'll talk about next, but is like Persephone and Hades and Demeter and Aphrodite and Apollo and like all of these gods are part of our ancient, not our, but I mean like our modern world knows about Greek mythology and them. So in here they are in modern times, these ancient Greek gods, but Persephone is young, you know, and like the mythology of Hades and Persephone hasn't happened yet. So that's where that also kind of throws me off.
Yeah, I actually was going to ask you. I was like, I didn't know if I missed something. Like, I get that she went to live there. I get that like she was having issues with her magic or whatever gift, but I didn't really get like why she seemed so young, but everyone else seemed like ancient. Like I didn't really grasp that.
Yeah, because like Hades, like the big gods, Hades and Aphrodite and Zeus and like all of those gods were old, like ancient. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, he talks about waiting for her for like millennia or whatever. So
yeah. Cause like I originally was like, wait, is this like she's reborn or I don't know.
Yeah. Like, okay. When I was kind of thinking back on it today, I was kind of wondering, I was like, I wonder if I missed something with the world building that maybe, you know, because you know me, I like to just skip chapters apparently half the time. I don't realize it.
So I'm
just like, I wonder if I missed something.
No.
So, okay.
No, it was very much I don't know. I think it throws me off when it's not inspired by, but it's literally a retelling with all the same names and everything, but it's
different.
Yeah, that it just, I don't know. My brain is very linear, so throws me off. But that's not to say I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy it. So have you read any other Persephone and Hades retellings?
I'm sure I've read a couple or a few over the years, but the one that sticks out in my mind the most that I absolutely loved was called The Villain by LJ Shen.
I feel like I remember you talking about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's modern day and it is a retelling. It's like reimagined. It's not like gods and whatever. It's Hades.
Do they have the names of Hades and Persephone?
She might be called Perry. I can't remember her name, but his name is Killian, like he with a different, spelled differently, but or something like that. And so, but he's a billionaire and but he's like this ruthless whatever. So anyway, it's all very different, but very much, you know, the same.
Yeah. More like a modern Pride and Prejudice kind of thing. Like
exactly. Yeah. It's definitely not like
inspired.
It's not the same story. Yeah. It's very different.
Yeah. Cool. So. I have read a few. Neon Gods is the one that I said I was gonna mention, by Katee Robert, which is great. Dark Olympus, book 1. It's even so they're not gods, like they didn't have powers, but they lived in, I want to say it was called like New Olympus or something like that. Maybe it was just called Olympus, because this was called New Athens, right, in this book. But they're just like the elite, I guess, but they are separated from the human world, kind of. So there's like a barrier that they can't go through. So there is some sort of magiciness. I don't know. I'm assuming they're going to get more into it in later books. But nobody does any magic or anything in the first book, which is Hades and Persephone. And then it goes through different god pairings as it goes on. But I did really enjoy that one. So I would recommend that if people are into the Hades and Persephone thing. A long time ago, I read The Goddess Test because my readers recommended it. And this was before there was a ton of Hades and Persephone retellings. Like this, I feel like the big wave of them just happened in the last few years. And I don't remember much about that. Like this was a long time ago that I read this. Like it has to be at least like 8 years or 9 years. And I want to say it's YA even, and I don't really do much YA anymore. But I didn't finish that series and I don't remember why. And then did you know that A Court of Mist and Fury, the second book in A Court of Thorns and Roses, is Hades and Persephone inspired? Just like A Court of Thorns and Roses is inspired by Beauty and the Beast.
Is it the same character? No, it's not the same character.
It is. No, yeah. So Feyre, the main character, is in book 1, it's Beauty and the Beast. Guy, right? She would be Beauty. And then in book 2, it's a different guy who would be Hades and she would be Persephone.
Got it.
So inspired by, doesn't use the same. It's like just very loosely inspired by. So that's super fun. And then I also have a Hades and Persephone, as you know. I have a Hades and Persephone series. But it's very sci-fi. And it's called The Atlantis Legacy. So had to throw that in there. I've read that. So have you.
Yeah, that one. So that one you have all the same names too, huh?
Yeah, but they're actually the same people who inspired the myths.
Yeah.
That one's very not time travel-y, but kind of time bendy.
Time bendy.
Yeah.
I feel like I've read a lot more than that. I'm sure half of them I didn't even realize were.
Well, the reason that I know that the big slew of Hades and Persephone books didn't come out until like the last, I want to say like 4 years, is because I did a ton of research on Hades and Persephone books before I wrote Legacy of the Lost, and there were not a ton of options, and most of them I didn't like that I read. There was like some very literary fiction-y kinds of ones, and that's not my thing at all. So I DNF'd a lot when I was doing that. And I don't
like naughty.
I know. But it's not. Did not finish. I did not finish. That's what the F stands for.
You still look to the side like you're like doing something you're ashamed of. You're like, ugh.
I feel ashamed when I don't finish a book.
No, I do that. It is what it is, you know?
Yeah. So, what were your favorite things about the book? Or your least favorite things?
Well, so I really liked the whole underworld and how it was created and what it looked like in my mind. I feel like it was very visually pleasing. And I really liked in general Hades' character. I think he had a lot of layers, and like you kind of, it's kind of like a Beauty and the Beast, right? Like you get the idea that, you know, nothing is exactly as it seems. He's not really that bad of a guy. And I feel like his character was really well developed, and I really enjoyed his character in general. So those were a couple things. There was one thing that I swear, I feel crazy thinking this now, but the whole time he kept saying like the bet was that, or whatever it was, is that her debt or whatever was that she had to create life in 6 months. And I kept thinking a baby.
I know, so did I. I was like, she's gonna get pregnant.
And then that wasn't it at all.
Yeah, and even like, Hecate said, like, boy,
I know,
you could have a child.
Yeah, so I feel like that was a little bit of a red herring that I was like, I don't know.
And yeah, that's totally what I thought was gonna happen. That's what I was expecting. So I felt unfulfilled.
Yeah, I know.
So
anyway, that was kind of an interesting little twist on there that really stuck with me. And then this is kind of more of like an after the story, you know, had all the bonus, I'm assuming it's sections out of his story or whatever, but it had some Hades chapters, which I thought was really kind of random, to be honest. I enjoyed them mostly, but I also was just like, there's like 5 or 7 of them or something. I don't know. It was very strange, but I did enjoy them. What I liked about them though, is I really like Aphrodite's character. And I was hoping that the next book in the series, I thought they were setting it up that like she was going to have a book, but she's not. All the books in the series are Hades and Persephone. So
maybe there's like another series. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But anyways, I was kind of let down by that too. Cause I was just like, oh, well, you just spent like an entire chapter explaining this entire backstory for Aphrodite. And I was like, oh,
I forgot how much I despised that one guy.
Adonis.
Is that his name?
The one who like stole her paper.
Yes, Adonis. Oh my God. What a like
douchebag.
Yes.
Douche nozzle, as we like to say.
A total douche nozzle. Like, oh my gosh.
No, and I feel like
I hated him. She did a really good job of making him terrible.
Yeah, and I feel like Persephone kind of was like a wet blanket about all that. Like,
yes,
she didn't really get mad.
Like, oh, it's okay.
That really
and then
me.
Yeah, and then he oh my gosh, his he has such like nice guy syndrome. Hey, I made you famous.
Hey, I'm gonna like try and like rape you in the corner and then like
and they get really mad when you get me. You get me fired when just someone finds out what I did and I get fired. Like, I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, she did a really good job of making dislikable characters, that's for sure.
Yeah. For sure. And Minthy.
Yeah. She just want to slap that bitch, man.
I know. Okay, yeah. So I think I already mentioned this, but the horns. I just wasn't into the horns.
Yeah, it was an interesting twist for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was actually very random because they don't ever have any sort of purpose, or if anything, just the whole time she's trying to use the glamour and cover them,
the horns. So, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe they're supposed to represent like something about their personality. It did seem like women had daintier horns, or the female goddesses had daintier horns, or I don't know. Yeah. I was a little confused by like, if Demeter was so controlling, I wasn't sure if I bought it that she would have let Persephone go to New Athens at all, even with her rules and stuff, considering that she was prepared to trap her in the greenhouse for the rest of eternity.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I was like, I don't know if I buy this. So little character motivation thing there.
Yeah, and she kind of just came whenever it was convenient, right? Like she was mostly not in the story. And I feel like also, if you have that, I can't remember, was it a prophecy? Was that what she was referring to the whole time? Like why she was trying to keep
yeah, she went to see the what did they call
the fates or someone? I don't know.
or the Oracle.
Oracle. Oh yeah, the Oracle. They called it the Oracle. So went to see the Oracle, and so she knew what was going to happen. But I feel like if you just always just tell someone stay away, stay away, stay away, and you don't tell them why, or you don't, I don't know. It just seems like you're just saying,
yeah,
I don't know.
Do you think that for like an ancient goddess that she would have a little more wisdom or common sense? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I did find Persephone frequently annoying. But I loved Hades so much that I didn't care. And I felt like a lot of Persephone's annoyingness was based on the stuff that she had learned from Demeter, which was very much like, one-sided brainwashing kind of stuff. So
yeah, I mean, it all kind of goes back to what's the backstory? Like, where has Persephone been forever, and how does she not have knowledge of these things if she's been in existence? And I don't know. It's kind of some blurry backstory there.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite scene or anything that stands out?
I was trying to think. Nothing's coming to mind. I'm sure I did, but no.
Okay.
Nothing's coming to mind.
I really loved, so this is chapter 24, which is near the end. And it's when Persephone confronts Hades about his lie, or like he had another bargain with
his bet. Yeah.
With
Aphrodite.
That somehow ended up entangling Persephone. But anyway, so they're fighting, and he is telling her that he helped her, and she says, "What did you do to help me?" And he screams or yells, "I worshipped you. I gave you what your mother withheld."
Yeah, that
Worshippers.
was great.
I loved that scene. I was like, oh, because that was like the big reveal of why Persephone didn't have powers.
Yeah, I forgot
because
about
that she's a god and she has to be worshipped. That's where their powers come from.
Life.
And her mother her mother has kept her hidden her entire life. Like the knowledge of her existence hidden, so nobody could worship her. And
I love that scene too. Yeah, now that you say that, I remember it clicking and being like, oh, okay, that makes so much sense.
And I think this is one of those instances where Meg's narration was spot on, perfect in like Hades' reaction, like her voice for him. It was just like nailed it, because I was watering a rhododendron. I remember exactly what I was doing.
That's hilarious.
And I was like, oh, and I think I just like stood up and I was like looking around. So that was one of those like really satisfying payoffs. And I also really wanted to strangle Persephone.
Yeah. No, that was good. Like I said, he had a lot of really cool aspects about his character. I really liked a lot. Like the good deeds that he was doing, and he's like, don't tell anybody. I don't want to get anyone.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was really adorable.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got to protect his bad reputation.
It's weird that she kept going into the underworld, but like he didn't tell her like what to expect, or maybe I don't know. I feel like there's a couple times where she was down there and she didn't know about the river, and she didn't know about all these things that were very dangerous. I'm just like, this makes no sense. How did she not know these things? How did somebody not tell her? Why is she in these predicaments to begin with? And
well, I think he wanted her to wait.
I remember the very beginning. I remember that when she goes into the river and then the souls are like pulling her down.
She thought it was a good idea to go into the underworld by herself.
But then there was another time too.
When she got led into Tartarus, when Minthi pretended to be a dog. Did she pretend to be a dog, or did she just throw the ball for the dog? I don't know.
I don't know either. And then who was the creepy guy when she was who was trying to get her to when she was in Tartarus? Yeah, he was trying to get her to give him, was it water or something?
Yeah. He was
like, why would you do that? Why would you go in there and do any of that? I forget.
I would have to flip through the book, and I'm not going to do that on camera. Yeah.
He ended up being like super creepy.
He was super creepy. He was like, I was like, is this Adonis in like after a year of torture? Is that what this is?
Yeah, what did Hades ever do to him? Like,
I think
feel like,
Persephone concealed what happened from him.
yeah,
Didn't she?
but
Or did she ever actually reveal it?
I think he eventually found out. Maybe someone else told him. I don't know, but or maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was when he was in the club and I can't remember, but he did something and Hades was like pissed off. And then I was like, but did he ever do anything? Isn't he Hades?
Oh,
Like,
like
I
when
feel
he
like
came in after he was like trying to force her to,
that might have been it.
he was
Yeah.
like molesting her mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Hades ever like got retribution for that, but she got her own vengeance on him by like turning his arms into tree limbs and telling him that if he ever touched another woman without consent, that she would turn him into a tree, right?
Oh, that was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Finally. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, wait, I'm a big baby, so.
That's interesting. I forgot about that.
So yeah, that was fun. There was a lot of fun stuff in there.
Yeah.
Did any part of this book make you cry?
No.
Me either. I think it's the third person thing. I just can't like.
Did it make some people cry?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, no.
No, I didn't get anything. Who would you cast as the main characters?
God, I hate you sometimes. I
have people.
You what?
I have people. So
let me guess. Ben Barnes for Hades.
I have two people for Hades, and one of them is Ben Barnes.
All right, who's the second one?
Jason Momoa. I know these are two totally different people, but I feel like Hades was described as being like this massive man, and he had long dark hair, and I was like,
Well, and that kind of fits in with him, like when they're in their love scene when all pretenses are gone and he has this big horns and stuff too. So yeah, it made him seem very beastly.
And I feel like Jason Momoa just kind of like, okay, don't get me wrong, I love Ben Barnes, and that was my initial thought. But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, Jason Momoa really like embodies the character of like this like gruff looking big gruff guy, but he seems like he's such a teddy bear, like on the inside.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this was my go-to person once before.
Henry Cavill?
No. Trying to picture that. No, it's actually Ian Somerhalder.
Oh, yeah, he's a great.
But it's because, he can play the villain so good, but like the bad boy, but has like the softy middle.
He totally does.
So he came to mind.
He's the kind of he plays the kind he always. Well, I don't know. I'm talking about Vampire Diaries here, but he plays like the kind of villain where he's the villain who will hurt everybody, or he'll tear the world apart to save the person he loves, which is
he doesn't care what happens.
The perfect kind of villain. That's the villain who I love. That's the like villain as the love interest to me. That's like what I want.
And I thought Megan Fox came to mind for Minty. For Minty,
I feel like
that
she
could be
perfect.
Really...
I love that. That's better than mine. Mine was Christina Hendricks.
Wait, who's that?
From Good Girls and Mad Men. Red hair. Very.
I don't know. She just seemed very like Vixen, but like
I think she's perfect. Yes, she's like poisonous Vixen.
Yeah. Did Persephone? She has blonde hair, right?
Yeah.
Or no?
I also have two for her.
Who do you have?
So I have. I feel like to me, like, is how I picture her looking. Is Chloe Grace Moritz, or however you say her name.
Raspy voice.
And then as soon as I thought of Jason Momoa, I was like, Emilia Clarke.
I can see that.
So yeah,
I can see that. I didn't really have anybody that came to mind. I did see somebody posted Dakota Fanning. I'm not really the Fannings girls.
I think I saw that too, and I was like, I don't have anything against them, but I don't like her for this role.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Oh, I did like the idea. I did see somebody post Charlize Theron for Demeter.
Ooh, I like that. Mine was Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
I like Charlize Theron. Oh, as like the queen from Snow White and the Huntsman.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's fun to think about that stuff, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's always so hard to cast the main characters. I
Yeah.
feel like it's easier for me to think about the other peeps.
Okay, so I have one more, which is for Hecate.
Mhm. I liked her character a lot, by the way.
Oh my gosh, she was amazing. Kristen Bauer von Straten, or Stratton, I don't know how you say it. Pam from True Blood.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, without the Southern accent, but I feel
In
like
that vein, actually, you could even
everything.
do Vane. Speaking of vampires, you could even have Eric Northman be Hades.
Yes, I could cast him in every male role. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
he has like 4 different of my characters that I write who are inspired by him. So like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Yeah, he could be a good Hades too.
Yeah, he is my Hades.
Oh, he is?
For Atlantis Legacy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He is.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so that's that.
Fun.
Are you planning on continuing the series?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I'm gonna read it on paper.
If it was a different couple, I feel like their story came to like I feel like I feel
they are like the
myth,
I feel like the myth that we know of has
like I said, if Aphrodite was the next one, then I would keep reading because I really enjoyed her character. But
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts on the book?
I mean, it was really fun. I like that it wasn't super deep for fantasy because you know me, like I struggle to keep up anyway. My brain doesn't function like a lot of people. So it was nice to be even though I tend to like the more historical stuff, it was kind of nice to be in temporarily in a mythical world that was easy to recognize, you know, and so it wasn't like really dense read.
And it didn't have like there wasn't big like building of magic systems, or there wasn't like a big complex.
No, but it was still clever at the same time. Like I really like the whole betting scenario and how it definitely seems,
I loved how that tied in with the fates. Yeah. And he was like, he kept trying to get her to understand, like, I don't control it. Like,
yeah. So anyway, just again, I love the layers with that. It's really interesting. I would be interested to ask the author if she felt more of a connection with Hades than she did with Persephone, because I feel like his character was had much more depth, which is interesting. Than
he was
Persephone's did.
Yeah, extremely complex. So I'm actually I have a Game of Fate. So I think I'm going to read that next.
That's his POV.
That's his POV of book 1.
But it's in third person, right?
I'm assuming so. Yeah. But I'm curious if Persephone takes on more complexity as seen through his eyes.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Is Meg doing? Who's doing?
I don't know. I'm not listening to it.
Oh, you're reading it. Okay. Do you have all the books in paperback?
No, I have A Touch of Darkness and A Game of Fate in paperback. And then I ordered the super fancy hardcover set from Bookish Box of the series. Just the Touch of Darkness, the Persephone side. So
all of your readers read it in the reader group, right? How did they like the book?
I would have to check. I haven't checked in with it yet. So, but I know that a lot of them already love it, or, you know.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So,
you know me, I love the retelling stuff. So
yeah.
So
I mean, we just like
fun.
We just talked about how our next BookTok book is going to be another myth retelling. So
yeah,
another Greek myth retelling.
Yeah.
So So thank you for listening, everyone. Don't forget to check out the show notes for this episode's links and book recommendations. We will be back in a couple weeks to chat about our next adaptation, and we are so excited about this one. We were just like gushing about how excited we are before we started recording, and it is Austenland by Shannon Hale, which neither of us have read, but we're also going to be talking about the adaptation to the movie, which is the 2013 movie, also titled Austenland. The movie is a favorite of ours.
We love it. We absolutely
love it so much.
In fact, the first time we watched it, I think we were together.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah. I love it so much. It's
Yeah, it's
so
so fun.
clever.
Mm-hmm.
It's so clever.
Jane Seymour, Jennifer Coolidge. It's fun.
And Carrie,
Uh,
that's her name, right?
yeah, no.
She was
no.
Felicity.
Yeah, well, that girl.
The show Felicity. And then the guy who plays like the Darcy kind of guy, I just like adore. I mean, I just love everybody in this movie is perfect. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
And I want to go to Austin Land so bad.
I know.
There
It's a
needs to be a
combo
Jane
package.
Austen theme park.
I know. That would be awesome.
So anyway, if you're enjoying the show, we would love it if you left us a rating or a review on iTunes, and don't forget to join the No Shelf Control Facebook group, link to in the show notes. And until next time, happy reading.
Happy reading.